Chefs, what do you look for when you select a restaurant to dine at? My dad was a professional chef his entire life. As a kid, if we went out to eat, he would never want to go somewhere he could do himself, i.e. steakhouses, pub food, seafood, etc. He would want to go somewhere that would be difficult for him to cook authentically, so we frequented a lot of ethnic restaurants. This also was vice versa. He cooked me Thai food once or twice at home but didn't like doing it because he knew he'd never be able to accurately recreate it like a Thai restaurant. I can understand that. Love a good steak, but to get the equivalent of what I can do at home, the price gets high. I would rather stay home. Now, my attempts at Indian food are poor shadows of what I have eaten at restaurants. No recipe has gotten me there either. 5 * hygiene rating. Obligatory, not a chef but. Anthony Bourdain said he looked at the bathroom. Bathrooms are easy to clean, and if a place can't keep that clean, the kitchen is probably disgusting. I eat mainly at places that I'm not familiar with the techniques or ingredients. I was trained in French food and have worked in Italian places. I mostly eat Thai, Korean and Ethiopian when I go out. But any restaurant that has a unique menu will always get at least one visit from me. Please come to my restaurant. We serve garlic fried in cat hair and served in a live potted plant. It is very unique. $50 a plate. Avoid restaurants with very long menu cards. It really depends. If it's a lot of interchangeable ingredients, Mexican, Asian, then it's probably fine. When I was food service manager at a large company, I asked the health inspector where she ate. She said fast food because their cleanliness rules were more stringent than regular restaurants. I had the local hard-ass health inspector * bring a 6-top * into our place one time. She was not that type. She was not seen in public eating like, ever, in this small town. It was big. Made me feel real damn special for like, 3 or 4 solid hours. I have 3 friends who are chefs, and they all eat shitter food than I do. Their diets revolve around pizza, fast food, and cereal. I work in the industry and the chefs I know will turn out gorgeous haute cuisine at work and eat candy and peanut butter sandwiches for dinner. A restaurant that does just a few things well. I don't need a place that serves burgers and eggs Benedict and seafood and pasta and meatloaf, etc. The problem is there probably isn't enough turnover to get all that stuff out in a timely manner, so some ingredient might be past it. I am particularly picky about seafood. The odds that those fried clams are fresh in a diner, for example? Not great. They've either been sitting there for a while or are frozen. This is a constant theme you see on shows like Kitchen Nightmares and * Restaurant Impossible. The failing restaurants shown usually feature menus that rival the Cheesecake Factory in terms of length and absurdity. Part of the rescue renovation process is creating a curated menu that is at * one full, single-sided page. It saves a ton of money on no longer needing to buy a shit ton of ingredients that won't get used regularly. I worked as a server and occasional line cook for several years. Number 1 red flag is the spouts on the soda fountain. Those things are one of the easiest things to clean in the entire place, so if they're mildewy, that kills my interest in eating there. I am fine with a bit of mess elsewhere, especially in a high-volume place since it will get messy over the course of the day. But those spouts take multiple days of no washing to get to a point where they are noticeably disgusting. That's a good point. In restaurants I've worked at, those would get cleaned every night as part of the closing duties. If a place can't even keep those clean, what other hidden corners are they cutting? My chef friends all say they mostly look for spots where a lot of people in the industry eat, honestly. Not a great answer because finding those places is hard if you're not, in the industry, but that's always their answer. Word of mouth is determinative. Whenever my husband and I travel, we find a friendly bartender and find out where the locals hang out. Found the coolest bar in Edinburgh and my favorite restaurant in New Orleans this way. I was a chef. I've since moved on from the industry, but I'll eat anywhere. Clean or dirty, busy or slow, working in the kitchen took a lot of those judgments out of my head. It might be great, it might be terrible, but you never know unless you try. Some of the best food I've ever had has come from places you'd least expect. So I'd pick whatever is close and I haven't tried yet. Oh, and avoid mayo-based salads. They have low turnover. That applies to everywhere no matter how fancy. First person I 100% believe is a chef. Took way too long to find a legit good answer. Smaller menus. It's much easier to be great at a fewer dishes than it is to be at a large menu, and much easier to keep your place stocked with fresher ingredients. Location. I lived near the sea for a bit. Did a lot of work with seafood and now live much further inland. I avoid seafood this far inland. I guess I've been spoilt by the freshness. Who I'm with. If I'm eating out, I'm not eating alone. I'm generally the least picky person. A lot of my meals and work days are rushed, on the fly, whatever's going affairs, and having friends with allergies or diets generally means their priorities come first. Convenience. If I'm eating out, it's not just a quick bite of something I could do quickly at home or get at a local takeaway, so I'm going to favor foods that take a long time or cause hassle to prep. Price. I'm a cheapskate and know how expensive each of the ingredients is at the wholesaler, so if the price is too high I'll just write down the idea on my phone and try making it myself another day I'm free. Desserts. As much as I love making stuff myself and have experience with all kinds of cuisines, I'm not the best at desserts and I have a sweet tooth. The menu has to be more interesting than a chocolate thing and assorted ice cream though. How busy the place is. Too busy and I'll feel like I have to rush, and if I'm eating out I'm going to want to take my time and enjoy the company I'm with. Conversely, if it's emptier I'm going to be much more critical over how clean it looks, especially if the staff appear not to be doing much. Bathroom. Always the first thing I check. If they can't keep a bathroom clean, where guests can see, I don't even want to imagine their kitchen. I want to wash my hands before I eat, so it's very easy to do before I order a thing. If the bathroom is nasty, I'm gonna grab my spouse and kids from the table, explain to the hostess, and leave. I'll be nice, pleasant about it, but that's a deal breaker. I love places where I can see into the kitchen. Even closed-off restaurants often have a door to it right across from the restrooms. How clean it is usually visible. Depends on what kind of a meal I'm looking for. Chefs are people too, and sometimes you just want a slice of pizza on a paper plate and a handful of cheap napkins with a Coke. Sometimes you put normal clothes on and take you significant out, usually to a place you have friends working at, or the competition to see what they're doing. I used to work at a shop that was next door to a franchise pizza place. One of the cooks at the pizza place was also a sous chef at an upscale restaurant in town. He just did the pizza job for extra money. The franchise demanded that he follow the franchise recipe exactly. But for personal friends, he would make a pizza his way. His tomato sauce was out of this world. Maybe he brought in his own spices? I don't know. Best pizza I've ever had. Cooked in the same kitchen as the crappy franchise pizza. I was sad when he moved on. Usually a telltale sign that something is good is the amount of people there on off-peak hours. Seeing a full restaurant for lunch on a Tuesday makes me think that they've got that something special. 20% off all leftovers on Tuesday, perhaps? I think the answer is pretty well known. Open so late it's early, full of other chefs because that's the place they've always congregated. Most chefs can't afford to eat out. Chefs get screwed unless attached to a high-end restaurant, hotel. I feel like that's a different discussion entirely. Most people can't afford to eat out as much as they do, but they do it anyway. Clean. Bathrooms should look and smell clean. Run my fingers under the edge of the table per bar, no gum and no grit. Clean glasses and cutlery. Amazing how many places don't do this. Here's looking at you place I went to in Manhattan where the server licked his fingers and tried to scrape dried orange pulp off the lip of my glass and then give it back to me. And if the entrance is dirty then everything is dirty. Menu that I feel is manageable at a good quality for the type of restaurant. Social media. A few places have ended up on my fuck it eat it list because of their Instagrams and such. Hell yes, I'll check out your cafe if you post pictures of drool-worthy croissants. Showing off your meat locker is a good way to make me interested in what I might dismiss as a run-of-the-mill steakhouse. Reasonably busy. Everywhere has off days, nights. But if a place is never busy there's probably a reason, and that reason is likely that it's not a great restaurant. Industry friend recommendations. Reputation goes a long way. Someone I trust says it's good? I'll check it out. What's the Manhattan place so I steer clear? A menu that's max 2 sides. Places with long book-like menus are guaranteed to be using frozen, microwave stuff. Unless those are 25 combinations made with 5 different meats and 5 different sauces, typical of some Asian restaurants. If you ask the server what they recommend, and they're hesitant, you may as well just get up and leave. They know what's fresh, good and not. They know if nothing is. If they recommend something, they are likely to push you the things that need to go. As a former chef, cleanliness and appearance of staff. If any one thing visible to the public that would be easy to clean is dirty, chances are the kitchen is dirty. The appearance of the dishes and utensils as well. There is a specific way that the dishes should look and even smell if they have been cleaned properly. When the machine is not being run correctly, the dishes will have a specific stale water smell to them and there will be a coating on them. The more basic and streamlined the menu, the more likely your food will be fresh due to frequent replenishment. Washrooms are an indication of cleanliness as well. Can you see the kitchen from the dining area? My neighbor is a pro chef, and he says if he cannot see the kitchen, ovens, prep tables, etc., then he will walk back out. This may be only a USA thing though. Not sure if it holds up in other countries. Guess he doesn't get out much. The menu size. Good restaurants have few menus and always fresh ingredients. Exception for the menu size. Certain ethnic restaurants like Chinese food, where the large menu is often because most of the individual dishes are just different combinations of the same few things. So a given item served with rice versus rice noodles is listed as 3 different items. Or say 10 different fried rice items differing by what is in it. Not a chef, but if I'm gauging how good a restaurant is, I will order the salmon. Almost every restaurant has it on the menu and a truly good restaurant won't rush it and send it out undercooked. Many will, even a lot of higher-end places. Those restaurants don't care. They just want their money and you're assuming grandma out the door. And for that reason I'll never eat at Milestones again. Served me, visibly very pregnant at the time, undercooked salmon, to the point it was still frozen in the middle. And tried to tell me that's the way the kitchen intended to serve it. As an old guy the first can testify we used to go on how full the parking was. Now it's online reviews. To everyone saying bathrooms I just want to point out that cooks clean the kitchen, and not the bathrooms. So it's not really a good connection to make. It's a lot easier for management to check if the bathroom is clean, much harder for the kitchen. So yeah, I personally never go for something other than a pizza, because I know that it was 100% properly sanitized by heat. Other than that it's just word of mouth. And even then, it's pretty much always a risk I'd rather not take. MAAAAYBE if it's an open kitchen and I can actually see the cutting boards. So, clean bathrooms is a necessary condition, but not a sufficient one. I never had problems with raw meat in Belgium, but several times in France. Came here too early and there's not enough tips. What do I avoid? Anywhere with a dirty toilet. If they can't clean a toilet, imagine what the kitchen is like. Then imagine how little of a fuck the staff gives if they can't bother to clean. That there are not too many dishes to choose from. If there are only 3 main dishes and the restaurant looks good they most likely cook with fresh ingredients. Meanwhile the one with literally everything to choose from probably shuffles your dish together by grabbing into the freezer repeatedly.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.